It is rare that I feel bad for a professional athlete, especially in the NBA, where most of the league is woke. It is extremely rare that I felt actual sympathy for a player. But today, I feel really bad for Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons is the least confident player in the NBA, and he's not getting confidence anytime soon. I hope that he's not reading the papers or watching the media today. I hope he's not on social media because Ben Simmons is getting universally blasted, and deservedly so. We all know what you do during the regular season in the NBA doesn't count. No one cares that you are first team All NBA on defense. No one cares that you are a multiple time All Star. No one cares that you led your team to the #1 seed in the Eastern Conference. None of that matters. The only thing that matters in the NBA is what you accomplish during the playoffs. I'm watching that game last night, Sixers-Hawks, a game that the Sixers should have won. Hell, the Hawks tried to give them that game. And I see Ben Simmons pass up a wide open dunk. At that point, game over. I knew the game was over. When one of the leaders on your team, the second best player, supposedly the second best player on your roster, lacks so much confidence that he is passing up a wide open dunk because he's afraid to get fouled and go to the free throw line, then you've got a serious problem. Ben Simmons should be one of the most dominant point guards in the NBA. This dude is 6'11". Every game, every night should be a mismatch for him. He should be an automatic double-double. Yet he continues to struggle. Ben Simmons hasn't improved offensively since he stepped foot on an NBA court his rookie season, which makes me seriously wonder if he is 100% committed to basketball. For you not to improve at all, hell, you can make the case that Ben Simmons has actually gotten worse. For that to be the case, you have got to start questioning work ethic, commitment. Look at how much Lonzo Ball has improved since his rookie year. Lonzo Ball used to struggle shooting. He used to struggle offensively, but he worked at it. Fred Vinson changed the mechanics of his shot, and now Lonzo Ball's a dual threat. He's a great defender, and he can burn you offensively. Ben Simmons is a one-dimensional player. The truth is, the hard truth, Ben Simmons is treated like a superstar, but all he is a high-profile role player. This dude's a role player. Ben Simmons is supposedly the second best player in Philadelphia. Let me ask you a question. Name another second best player. Name another superstar in the NBA who takes 0 shots in the fourth quarter. The last 4 games in this series against the Hawks, Ben Simmons took 0 shots in the fourth quarter. That's inexcusable. And hell, you can't have him on the court in the fourth quarter of a tight game anyway because he can't make free throws. Hell, he can't make jump shots either. Not only can he not make free throws, he's afraid to take free throws. So the Sixers on offense, if Ben Simmons is on the court in the fourth quarter, they're on a 4-on-5 scenario because he's absolutely useless offensively. There have been superstar players in the NBA that have struggled at the free throw line. Shaquille O'Neal, prime example, notoriously poor free throw shooter. Dwight Howard, god-awful. But there's a huge difference between them and Ben Simmons. Shaq, he would give you 30-plus points before the game got late into the fourth quarter. Dwight Howard in his prime, he was a double-double machine. Hell, Giannis. I have been extremely hard on Giannis. He's a liability late in the game because he can't make his damn free throws. But Giannis is dominant the rest of the game. He's an impact player. He can give you 30, 35, 40 points. He's not afraid to go to the free throw line either. The last 4 games of this series, Ben Simmons has averaged 7.5 points a game. He took 14 shots the last 3 games. That's it. Trae Young took 23 shots last night. And Trae Young was struggling. He was struggling mainly because Ben Simmons was locking him down. But Trae Young never lost his confidence. When it got into crunch time, who had the ball for Atlanta? Who was at the free throw line? Trae Young. It is over for Ben Simmons in Philadelphia. It's over. He's not going to be back next season. The Sixers, you could argue that the Sixers should have traded him after that debacle in the playoffs last year, while he still had a little bit of value. Ben Simmons' value right now has plummeted. A few months ago, there were rumors that Philadelphia was going to swap him for James Harden. A trade of that magnitude? That ain't happening anymore. The Sixers, they might get a first-round pick, maybe a role player in exchange for Ben Simmons, but that's about it. But you want to know how you can tell that it's over for Ben Simmons in Philadelphia? Because Doc Rivers and Joel Embiid have turned their back on him. After the game last night, Joel Embiid said that the turning point of that game was when Ben Simmons passed up on that wide open dunk I mentioned earlier. He didn't call him out by name, but we all knew who he was talking about. Doc Rivers was asked by a reporter if Ben Simmons could be the point guard of a championship-level team. Doc Rivers' response? I don't know. He said he couldn't answer that question right now. Translation, Doc Rivers has zero faith in Ben Simmons. And look, Doc Rivers is not blameless here. The Sixers' downfall wasn't all Ben Simmons' fault. It was mostly his fault, but he shouldn't get all the blame. What the hell was Doc Rivers thinking, having Ben Simmons and Dwight Howard on the floor at the same time in a Game 7? Two of the worst free throw shooters in the NBA. In Game 7, two guys who are a liability offensively, on a team that struggles on the offensive end anyway. And you have them on the court at the same time? I like Doc Rivers. I really do. But he has been a failure in the playoffs, 8, 9, last 10 years. He hasn't made it out of the second round since 2012. 4 first-round playoff exits. Many blamed him for the Clippers' failure in the bubble last year. Brett Brown was fired by the Sixers because he couldn't get them past the second round of the playoffs. They're the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference this year. They bring in Doc Rivers to get them over the proverbial hump, and the result is the same. The title window is closing in Philadelphia. Daryl Morey has got to make some changes, and they've got to get them done fast. You have Tobias Harris, a role player, on a max contract. Who in the hell thought it was a good idea to give Tobias Harris $180 million over 5 years? That might be the worst contract in the NBA. They handed a bad contract to Al Horford. Ben Simmons is crumbling before our eyes. The Titanic is sinking in Philadelphia. The reason I say things had to change quickly is because we don't know how much longer Joel Embiid can play prime-level basketball. He played this entire series with a torn meniscus, or a partially torn meniscus anyway. Joel Embiid is like Anthony Davis, supremely talented, but he can't stay healthy. We have seen injury-riddled big men before in the NBA exit their prime quickly. The Sixers have a prime example of this on their roster, Dwight Howard. Dwight Howard was never the same after that back injury he went through his last year in Orlando. Doc Rivers and the Sixers, they wasted a prime opportunity to win a championship this season. I told you guys yesterday that the Bucks, Giannis and the Bucks, they were taking advantage of this opportunity. Clearly, the Sixers didn't. Think about it. There's no LeBron James. There's no Anthony Davis. Steph Curry and the Warriors, out. The Jazz, gone. Kevin Durant, gone. Giannis did you a favor and got rid of Kevin Durant. All the playoff threats are sitting at home. This should have been the Sixers' year. And they choked. Joel Embiid needed Big Simmons to take this series over. And he couldn't do it. These are the types of moments that superstar-level players in the NBA, they step up and take over. Ben Simmons, though, is not a superstar. He is a role player. If I'm his agent, I'm setting him up with a sports therapist immediately. This lack of confidence that he's going through, it's not something that's just going to go away. It's not going to be fixed in one off season. It's not going to be fixed with a trade either. If this problem goes unaddressed, it's going to travel with Ben Simmons wherever he ends up playing next season. All right, what are your thoughts on Ben Simmons? Is he a superstar player that just had a bad series against the Hawks? Or is he a role player? Do you think the Sixers are going to part ways with him this offseason? Or do you think he'll be back in Philly next year? Sound off in the comments below. Let me know what you're thinking. Make sure to like and subscribe. Click the notification bell to receive all notifications from the channel. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, KC_BTL84 on Twitter. I'll see you guys tomorrow.